Okay, I actually still want to talk about, hi, Sheikh from Fat Cat, Sheikh Jalal Ahmed from Fat Cat Motorsports. And the third video I made was a bit of an overview of the first two. And I mentioned the idea of, in the last video, of what dominates. What's dominating the suspensions, all the relationships, right? Because you've got these different components, and a lot of the time you end up throw this part, throw that part, and like, how do I make them all work together? And that's often a really important question to ask yourself. I know a lot of people realize, oh, I'm getting Eibach lowering springs, I'm getting Hotchkiss sway bars, I'm getting Koni shocks, or whatever combination you can think, or I'm getting Öhlins coilover kit, but I'm getting sway bars from Turner or Ground Control. I'm getting top hats from somebody else, or chuck mounts, top hats, whatever, camber plates. I'm getting offset ball joints, or GT3 lower control arms. How is everything going to work together? I think we trying to keep that. Okay, a little adjustment. Okay, still trying to frame things a little bit better. So the relationships, right? The component relationships. And are you creating chaos or harmony? And when you have that pitching behavior, you get this, like I've mentioned in another video, this amplifying effect where the suspension input comes and then the whole car is going to oscillate a few times. But if you have, that's with the higher front frequency, the pitch, right, and lower rear, because the front's kind of driving the rear down as opposed to the rear kind of pushing the front down and kind of saying, okay, slow down or stabilize. Okay, settle down. And an analogy I like to draw is, if you imagine like if the front is like a kid. So here's my wonderful artistic skills. So here's a little kid, and then here's the rear is a parent, a bit bigger, right? Mom, dad, let's just pretend it's dad. They're both bald, okay? So the kid's gonna wanna go where the kids wanna go, right? It's gonna, run around and have fun and do their thing, and the parent, keep a watchful eye on your kids. I think a good parent is gonna give your kids some leeway, give them some constraints. It's like, don't run into the street, don't talk to every stranger you meet, or if I'm with you, you can say hi to a stranger, but don't, So the kid wants to go play. And some parents even have leashes on kids, right? Or harnesses, whatever, which is cool. I don't think they had them when I was a kid, but I probably could have. I would have been a candidate for that. But so this idea of the front being this, that's where you're steering from, right? You've got this ability to go where you want. And then the rear, the way that I tune, the way I conceptualize this F-Simulate, this ride harmony approach is, you want the front to be fluid and loose meaning just flexible, in terms of both its lateral response as well as its bump response, and really to kind of absorb things, to be like, to go with the flow, you could say it in a way. So you really want to make, from my understanding, my experience, make the front more supple, and just, you got to steer, you got to have some feedback, and you really want to take as much immediate reactivity away from the front, because otherwise it poisons the relationship with the rear. It just creates this bucking. It's like if a kid has been over dominated, you have a kid that's too controlled, super helicopter parented, just can't have any freedom, just like, oh, mommy doesn't want me to do it, daddy doesn't want me to, and there's just this unhappiness to the front end. Whereas if you have that relaxed parent that's still watchful, and if they need to, like, whoa, I hope I didn't yell too loud, like, hey, come back, or run up and grab the kid, or just to have that guidance, like the rear and the front have this relation. The front's playful and dancing and moving, and the rear has to be a bit more on top of things. Like literally, that's what a well-tuned suspension is, giving you this more harmonious relationship with the front and the rear, because the front's steering, and you're the one steering the car, right? But you're asking it to do this, that, whatever, and there's road inputs coming in, and it can be like, "Ooh, I hit a big bump in the front," and so and if the kid's like, "Ooh, Daddy, Mommy, this is what happened," and the parent's like, "Hey, it's okay, I got it," or "Hey, you're fine, it's okay." So it's like that. Instead of taking the "ooh, oopsie," or the "wow," or the "owie," like, "Oh, I fell," it's like, "Oh, you're fine, don't worry about it." And they cry a little bit, but they're gonna be fine, right? You know, nothing's, no bone sticking out or blood everywhere. It's an "owie," it's no big deal. That's this relationship that I've kind of, again, I got the physics analogy, the relationship analogy. Like, what is the relationship? So I want to create that harmony where this interaction between, and this is obviously one unit, right? This is the front and the rear. I mean, of course, there's, you know, left front, right front, but the key is that you've got this front suspension and this rear suspension that have the separation, but they're still connected by the platform. As I've drawn in other examples, you've got this front and rear. You know, here's a little Miata, whatever this thing is. And you've got you driving it, headlight, and you're, you know, tooting down the road. So this is how you can think about the rear. That's why, like, if the rear has a heavier spring and the front is, you know, a little lighter, that rear is giving that stabilization. That's what I had right here on my sheet. I said the front steers, the rear stabilizes. And I just grateful to God that this concept came to me. So I've thought about ways to say this very succinctly and very, I think, completely. And I really love this analogy, because this is any time I've seen parents interacting with kids in a way that's super fun, playful, respectful, it has this kind of dynamic. And you can probably, some of you who have kids, who I don't have them, I just observe, I have niece, nephew, friends and whatnot. And this is how I'd want to parent. This is how I think my parents were actually pretty hands-off in a lot of the cases. We could go play out, or we'd just like come back for dinner. That was back in the day when kids actually played outside a lot. So this is, the rear becomes this more important control mechanism, and the front is a lot more fluid. There's still a stiffness. There's still a level of firmness that you need to, again, not to get into the bump stops too much, so that you're not constantly using them, but you're using a shorter bump stop than, you know, like whatever the factory was. Instead of this, I should probably go get one next time, but I have a much shorter, softer. There's a couple different densities. This is around a 250 pound per inch bump stop for the front. The rear is going to be softer, but the ones that we would use for our tunes, or if you were going to change to something else, you could use a softer bump stop that allowed the front to be a bit more absorptive of the road as you've increased the frequency a bit more. Again, you've gone, you know, from, you know, the 1.3 to 1.6 or 1.8 or 2.2, somewhere in this region. I mean, you could be 2.0, 2.2, but this is the kind of general concept of making the car want to have the rear to be the major controlling element. And then it creates this fun, supple dynamic that's very intuitive to drive. And really, when you do all the elements well, when you get all of it, the flat ride, the damper tuning, that's more rally car versus NASCAR, you get the gas force low, you have some frequency filtering going on for you. You feel relaxed. And I wanted to mention this, which my buddy 996 Love, who's come out a few times, he's got a Porsche, and he actually wanted to go on a drive to a part of 280 that he had been on. This was like near Palo Alto, I think, Los Altos. And he said, yeah, there was an expansion joint that he hit that went, and his car is a factory suspension. So it's from like, early 2000s. So 24 years old. And he said, yeah, I hit this expansion joint and the car just started to buck, and it was like, I think he described it, if I remember correctly, called it 5 seconds of terror. It's like, oof. I mean, like, whoa, that doesn't sound good at all. I mean, and he's not prone to exaggeration. I mean, he's intelligent, he's analytical, he's got engineering background, he's very mechanically adept, hands-on, very intuitive. So when he says this, I'm like, goof. I mean, I've felt cars that were bad, and a lot of them can be various degrees of bad. So we went for a ride, and it was evening time, and we're tooling down. I think I was in the second lane. I mean, it wasn't the fastest, because I didn't want to block traffic. But I'm doing like 70, 75, I mean, nothing too crazy. And so I was looking for expansion joints, because Christina loves them now. I mean, she's been happy with them before, but I've emphasized a little bit lower front frequency recently and softened the damping a little bit more in the front, just to really get this playful kid and the responsive, aware, firm, aware adult behavior going. And so we hit the expansion joint, or several, and we hit one that was like, was this it? Was that it? He's like, I guess, because we've hit all the ones, and we went all the way down to Cupertino. We went all the way down. So the one that I hit, that was the last one that I think that was present. It was like a non-event, and my car is more stiffly sprung than his is, in terms of the steel spring. In terms of the steel springs, front and rear, I have a higher spring rate. But his car, once the front end starts to get busy and active, it's pulling down into the bump stops. So it's getting into that, that pitch, the 2.2, as I drew down here, like 2.2 front, 1.9 rear, this type of, pitch behavior. So that's where the front is, just because of this interaction. It's very punishing, and it's very disjointed. And so we took this. We're in the car. We're listening to music. We're chatting, and we get back, and it was really cool that he said this. And this is going to be a good point to, I think, maybe not end exactly this video, but to at least pause. Well, one last thing I want to share after this. And he said, I feel really relaxed, like just calm. Like, I'm glad, because the suspension is designed to give you more peace. Like it's taking care of your body, it's taking care of your tires, it's filtering a lot of noise, a lot of excessive vibration, and just energy. It's avoiding transmitting energy and transmitting road inputs through the tires and the suspension into you. So everything's just calmer. And he's like, yeah, this is really cool. And I said, this is something you can look forward to. He's like, I'd really like that. And again, even if you never go racing, you have no intention to, compete or anything, it's just you feel respected, because this is really gets down into why am I even doing this? I was working in high tech. I'm going to write the other word, sublime, which is one of my favorite words. I think I actually came up with the phrase, maybe not, I'm not the only one, but to me I think it actually means something if I say sublime speed. I love alliteration. I'm a poet and I didn't know it, but actually I do kind of know it sometimes. And all of the things that the factory does fundamentally are understandable. However, because their idea is we cannot give you something that's too capable for whatever reasons, unless again it's a non-sport suspension or a non-sporty package or non-sports car, then they're giving you that. They are designing that. but they're not expecting somebody to try to go fast. So people who want to have a more playful, fun car, something with more power or better handling or whatever, they're made to suffer. You are made to suffer. You are suffering right now, probably to some degree, because you're not being respected. You're being subjected to all this extra non-idealities because they're afraid of giving you a capable vehicle that you then have to be an adult and decide how much am I going to push it in any given turn, any given condition. You're going to have a broader margin of error if you think about what the tires are able to deliver, you know, in terms of the grip margin or the grip envelope, you know, from like lateral, you know, left, right turn, whatever, your overall, whatever was there before. So it's like this curve. So there's a more peakiness to it, meaning you get to the limit, then it goes off, and then you're done, or not done maybe, but you're definitely not having so much fun. Versus if you have more of an FCM tune, you know, something that's more ride harmonized. I mean, us or somebody else that's, you know, doing something that's well designed and well considered. You have more grip. You're getting more from the tires. I mean, the tires are the same. You're just treating them better. You're respecting the tires so that they can give you sublime speed. So there's more margin. There's more margin for error. There's better braking ability. You can stop faster. You have more safety margin as well as more performance margin. So, and then you're more relaxed. I mean, it's kind of it's a very spiritual thing for me. I will stop this video here, then I'll do some more missives in the next one. Maybe probably the last one.